Unleash miraculous energy. Manifest divine love, peace, and abundance in 40 days of sacred Medit. The words hung in the air like the heady scent of spring wildflowers, vibrant and alive, calling the villagers of Willowbrook to gather. As the sun bathed the ancient chapel in golden light, the message, like a divine whisper, rippled through hearts eager for hope. Amidst the backing of the enthusiastic crowd stood Sarah, an earnest mother of two, her hands intertwined with those of her children. Each word from the priest struck a chord of desperation within her. Mark, her steadfast husband, laid in their modest home, battling a cruel illness that threatened to eclipse their days. The thought of losing him sent tremors through her soul. Yet the very air around them sparkled with anticipation, as though the divine was preparing to descend upon them. As news of the prayer challenge spread, a wave of fervor swept over the village. People began gathering each night, their voices rising in unified prayer, echoing off the chapel walls. Sarah poured every ounce of faith into the challenge, praying with abandon for a miracle, yet a shadow loomed in her mind. Was this all mere ritual? Did God truly hear their cries? It was during these sacred evenings that something extraordinary began to happen. Sarah noticed the chapel becoming a sanctuary of inexplicable warmth. The flickering candle flames seemed to glow brighter, and the gentle wind whispered promises of hope. On one particularly still night, she witnessed a shimmering light illuminating the altar, casting a serene glow that bathed the congregation in a sense of divine presence. Murmurs erupted from those around her, hearts awakened to possibilities that flouted earthly bounds. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she knelt before the altar, the challenge's sacred intensity wrapped around her like a warm embrace. Yet doubts scratched at her heart, the voice of reason wrestling with her fervent devotion. Was this truly a channel for divine miracles? Or were they lost in mere dreams? One night Sarah gathered her neighbors, her voice steady but trembling. They joined hands, a sacred circle woven from love and desperation, and together they interceded for Mark's healing. As their words flew upward, a palpable energy surged through the chapel, thundering against its walls like a song of angels. She felt a burn in her chest, a stirring akin to the birth of a flame in a hearth, assurance pushing away the cold weight of despair. With every sound of fervent prayer, Sarah's heart ached, caught between hope and anxiety. What if this was merely the calm before the storm? As they prayed, arms raised and spirits lifted, she held her breath, waiting for a miracle that would either bless them or shatter their beliefs. As the deep tones of church bells rang out, signaling the end of their gathering, a haunting silence enveloped the village. The beauty of faith ignited, but with it came the question: could they truly believe that love would conquer the shadows of doubt, paving the way to their miracle? The next evening, the chapel was alive with a vibrancy that pulsated like a heartbeat, an atmosphere heavy with expectation and hope. Sarah walked through the wooden doors, her shoulders straightened by the weight of shared prayers from last night. The faces around her glowed with a similar determination, mingled with uncertainty. She felt this unspoken bond, a tapestry of longing woven tightly together. As the priest stepped forward, a hush fell upon the crowd, drawing everyone's eyes toward him. "Tonight," he began, his voice rich and soothing, "we will focus our prayers on love. Love that heals, love that binds, love that rekindles the spirit." The simple words resonated, striking chords deep within Sarah's heart. Here, amid the echoes of hopes and dreams, she felt the warmth of something greater brushing against her soul. With heads bowed and hearts wide open, they began to pray. Sarah's mind wandered back to Mark, his laughter, his strength. She recalled the moments they had danced in their kitchen, children twirling around them, the happiness that flowed through their little home like sunlight. It all seemed so distant now, yet she clung to the memories like a lifeline. As the congregation joined in, an energy ignited through the chapel, wrapping around them like an unseen embrace. Suddenly, the candles flickered more than usual, as if sensing the urgency of their prayers. A profound silence fell over the crowd, an anticipatory breath held between each soul. It was then that little Emily, with her wide, innocent eyes, raised her voice above the choir of hearts. "Will God hear us, Mama?" she asked, casting her gaze toward Sarah. The weight of the question hung in the air, every adult holding their breath at the simplicity and depth of it all. Sarah's heart swelled. "Yes, sweet girl," she whispered, hugging Emily close. "He hears us, every word, every prayer." This childlike trust fueled a fire within her. She believed fiercely in the collective power of faith, a faith that could pierce through the veil and reach the heavens. As their prayers morphed into song, Sarah felt the palpable energy in the room shift, like a tuned instrument responding to a gentle touch. The shimmering light from the altar seemed to grow, dancing playfully across the walls, revealing faces aglow with divine yearning. Each note lifted their spirits higher, and in that moment, doubts began to dissolve like fog in morning light. But soon, a subtle breeze swept through the chapel, carrying whispers of doubt. What if Mark's fight was a losing battle? What if they prayed and nothing changed? Sarah gripped Emily's hand tighter, a surge of defiance swelling within her chest. She believed they were close to something extraordinary, a divine breakthrough that could transform their sorrow into joy. Could it be anything less than that? As the hymn reached its crescendo, an overwhelming sense of peace filled the air. But something stirred within Sarah, an awareness of a deeper truth. Perhaps the miracle was not merely about her husband's healing. Perhaps it lay in a broader understanding of what it meant to love without bounds. When the final note faded, Sarah felt a hush envelop her heart, as though the universe itself paused in reverence. All at once she recognized the truth. They were entering a sacred journey, one that was drawing them together fiercely, one that stirred divine love among them. As the gathering came to a close, one lingering thought lingered in Sarah's mind. What if the best was yet to come? With hope ignited, she stepped outside, ready to face the night that awaited. But little did she know, a pivotal moment of divine intervention loomed just around the corner, something that would challenge every ounce of that hope. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the chapel's entrance as Sarah stepped outside. The evening air wrapped around her like a gentle embrace, filled with the scent of blooming night flowers. A nervous excitement danced in her chest, mingled with the weight of anticipation, as she considered the journey that lay ahead. Nearby, Emily skipped ahead, her innocent laughter echoing off the stone walls. "Mama, are we going to keep praying?" she called back, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. Sarah paused, absorbing the child's earnestness. It reminded her of the vast potential held within their prayers, of how they could reach beyond their earthly concerns and touch the divine. "Yes, darling," Sarah replied, her voice steady. "We will pray every day. Love is our strength." As they walked down the familiar path towards home, the world around them seemed to burst with life. Crickets sang their nightly symphony, and the stars twinkled like promises above them. This was not just a walk. It felt like a sacred journey, where each step held the weight of faith. Sarah reflected on the group gathered that night, their shared breaths of hope, their collective yearning for healing. The spirit among them felt palpable, alive like electricity sparking just beneath the surface. Yet as they neared home, a creeping anxiety tugged at her heart. What if their hopes were built on thin air? What if this was all just wishful thinking? No, she pushed those thoughts away. Faith was not merely a wish, it was the conviction derived from experiences both past and present that their prayers meant something. She couldn't let doubt seep into her heart, not now. Inside, the soft glow of the kitchen light welcomed them. The familiar sounds of home enveloped her. With Emily happily settled at the table, doodling on a placemat, Sarah began to prepare a simple meal. Stirring the pot, she envisioned Mark in his chair, laughing at their silly anecdotes, teasing Emily for her colorful drawings. Their hearts beating as one, united in love. After dinner, Sarah gathered Emily into her lap. "What do you think God is doing right now?" she asked, smiling down at her daughter. The question hung in the air, inviting reflection. Emily pondered it seriously, her brow furrowing. "I think he's getting ready to help us," she declared confidently. The innocence of her faith struck Sarah deep within. Children had this uncanny ability to see the world through pureness of heart. "Yes, sweetheart," Sarah replied, her voice catching in her throat. "He is getting ready." As they settled into their evening routine, Sarah glanced at her phone. The screen lit up with a message. The church group was planning a special gathering, a night of praise and worship to elevate their collective prayers. Without thinking, she grabbed her jacket, exhilarated by the prospect of immersing herself in community support. Could this be the spark they needed to jumpstart a divine miracle? Arriving at the chapel, you could feel the charged energy inside. Conversations of faith and hope wove through the air, mingling with shared laughter. Here, burdens felt lighter, fears less constraining. The room seemed to pulse with divine expectation, a living testament to their earlier prayers that rippled out into the universe. As the music began, Sarah felt the familiar warmth wash over her. This was her fuel, her fire. Each note coursed through her, igniting a fierce belief within her soul. Tonight she felt bold enough to lean into the promise of restoration. She knew in her heart that they were on the brink of something monumental, a shift that would redefine every sorrow. But then, in a moment of clarity, she thought, what if this journey could transform not just her and Mark, but everyone present? The thought lingered, opening a door to possibilities. As Sarah began to weave her intentions into the tapestry of collective prayer, she felt a whisper of divine mystery hovering close. Was this the beginning of a revelation? And in that moment, surrounded by love and light, a question blossomed in her mind. What miracle was waiting to unfold? The music flowed like a river of hope, carrying their prayers upward, weaving them into a celestial tapestry. Sarah closed her eyes, allowing the sounds to wrap around her, filling every corner of her spirit. Each note seemed to herald fresh possibilities, echoing through her very soul, urging her to step into faith. Emily, nestled at her side, swayed gently, her small hands raised in unreserved worship. Occasionally, she lifted her voice to mix in with the others, a sweet melody full of trust. Watching her, Sarah felt warmth bloom in her chest, as if God himself were affirming the pure-hearted prayers of a child. This simple act of faith filled the space with vibrancy, igniting a spark that danced like fire across the room. As Sarah basked in this sacred gathering, she could see the faces around her light up with passion. The warmth of camaraderie was palpable. People shared smiles, a knowing glance, or a supportive squeeze of the hand. In this moment, they were connected. Every fear seemed to dissipate into the ether as love eclipsed it all. Then, as the music quieted for a moment, the congregation fell into a soft hush. A stillness enveloped the space, creating an atmosphere heavy with expectancy. Sarah felt her heart race in tandem with the shared silence. It felt as if they were teetering on the brink of a revelation. A voice broke the silence, grounded and sure. Pastor James stepped forward, his face radiating the quiet assurance of hope. "Tonight," he began, "is not just an ordinary gathering. This is our moment, our time to unify and call upon divine strength." The way he spoke, with every ounce of passion bursting forth, wrapped around everyone like a warm cloak on a chilly evening. "Let us prepare ourselves for the miracle we've been seeking," he continued. "We will pray not just for ourselves, but for each other, a true community, standing together in faith." Sarah felt a magnetic pull, urging her to join in the collective intention. Her thoughts flickered to Mark and the challenges they faced. He was always the anchor in her stormy seas, yet she knew they were both yearning for something beyond their everyday struggles. And then it happened. As the room poured its intentions into the air, Sarah felt a rush, like a wind sweeping through the chapel, stirring her heart vigorously. She clung to that energy coursing through her veins. She began to quietly exchange her burden for prayer, letting hope permeate the dark corners of uncertainty. Suddenly she felt a lightness. Was it possible for miracles to truly greet them on this night? Could healing flow freely through the lives represented? The thought brought tears to her eyes, not of sadness but of anticipation, of divine promise unfolding before her. As the evening unfurled, the atmosphere thickened with love and prayer. Emotions ran high, and vulnerabilities were shared among friends. No one was alone in their struggles. Reassured, Sarah found herself whispering her own fervent prayer into the tapestry of collective wills. And then, coming together, the group joined hands, encircling each other. Powerful voices surged forth in an anthem of faith, resonating with sincerity. Each utterance climbed toward heaven, pulling down an aura of divine grace that wrapped them all in warmth and light. In the midst of rising fervor, Sarah caught Emily's eye, sparkling with childlike wonder. At that moment, she realized that even without an immediate answer, their journey together was already a miracle of love and unity. As the chorus reached its peak, a soft glow ignited within Sarah. She felt a surge of insight. What if our prayers tonight create a ripple that changes not only our lives, but countless others? The thought expanded in her heart, urging her onward. She couldn't help but wonder. What transformation might they invite through authentic faith and collective love? The chapel pulsed with energy, the air thick with divine promise, waiting for the next chapter to reveal itself. As silence enveloped the room, anticipation crackled in the air like static before a storm. Sarah's breath quickened. The energy swirling around them felt almost tangible, a holy whisper binding their hearts together. Each pulse resonated with conviction, an echo of prayers mingling, ascending toward heaven. Pastor James raised his hands, inviting deeper connection. Friends, let us now focus our hearts toward a single beacon, our shared aim for transformation. Each word you offer tonight can unlock doors to miracles. His impassioned plea sent shivers down Sarah's spine. She felt compelled to lift her voice, a small thread in the vibrant tapestry of faith forming before her. Memories of past struggles flickered through her mind, the gains, the losses, each woven together by divine purpose. In this moment, she knew that her testimony could inspire others. God is not just listening, but actively moving among us, Pastor James declared, encouraging the assembly to rest in the expectancy of divine answers, as if they were perched on the edge of an extraordinary cliff, ready to leap into a boundless sky of promises fulfilled. As the music surged back, a heavenly tide rushed through the hearts of those gathered. Sarah couldn't help but glance at Emily, still so innocent, her small frame vibrating with delight and curiosity. It struck her, how she wanted this moment preserved like a snapshot of pure faith, like a glimpse of heaven on earth. Suddenly, Sarah's mind whirled back to Mark again. His laughter, his comforting touch. Would they soon discover a new chapter in their lives? Could this night, steeped in fervent prayer, shift the very fabric of their existence? She had always believed, but tonight felt different. It felt like a spark ready to ignite. The congregation collectively raised their voices, ferrying praises into the atmosphere. Sarah felt each melody lift her higher, wrapping her tightly in love, unity, and hope. Then, almost miraculously, an unexplainable peace began to flood her soul, as if the burdens she carried were washed away in that sacred sound. Let us share what weighs heavy on our hearts, Pastor James invited gently. Speak these burdens aloud. Intercession is powerful. One by one, people began to share. A woman spoke of her looming health issues. Another outlined struggles in her marriage. Sarah listened intently, her heart aching for those who stood vulnerable before God. The air shifted, filled with the weight of authentic prayers, a powerful reminder that no one was alone in this journey. Their fears, struggles, and dreams intertwined, forming a network of divine intercession that spanned the room. Then it was Sarah's turn. As she squeezed Emily's hand tightly, her voice trembled. For my family, for my husband, Mark, I pray for healing, hope, and alignment with God's purpose, that we might find answers wherever we are lost. Her words flowed, almost without her urging, a stream from the depth of her heart. With every uttered hope, the energy intensified around them, as if the very walls of the chapel were breathing in tandem. Sarah closed her eyes again, experiencing a divine appointment, feeling connected to something greater than herself. In the hush that followed, the chapel pulsed with a sacred rhythm that spoke promises of reconciliation, new beginnings, a tapestry of lives intertwined with divine intention. Sarah opened her eyes and caught sight of a striking glow enveloping the room, glimmers of light dancing before her. A soft assurance wrapped around her, prompting joyous tears to spill forth. She knew that something divine was unfolding, but the question burrowed into her heart. What was to come of this sacred gathering? What miracles awaited them upon the horizon of faith? The air thickened, their hearts beat like one. Could it be that the transformation they longed for was already beginning to reveal itself? An electric excitement buzzed in the air as each moment unfolded like the petals of a blooming flower. The chapel, once a mere structure, transformed into sacred ground. It felt as if faith itself had taken a physical form, wrapping its tendrils around hearts and souls, binding them together in a sacred purpose. Sarah felt a deep-rooted urge to dive further into this experience, to embrace the divine essence that enveloped her. "Now let us pray together as one family," Pastor James beckoned, his voice smooth and inviting. He created a momentary pause as the congregation took a collective breath. In unison they exhaled, hearts laid bare, vulnerable yet fortified by their shared intentions. Each prayer rose up like sweet incense, creating a fragrant offering to heaven. Sarah found it almost impossible to separate herself from the flow of prayers. She stood with her eyes closed, focusing on visualizing Mark, her husband, as he faced his challenges. "Lord," she whispered, "shine your light upon him. Allow him to see the pathways that seem hidden. Breathe hope into our family and unearth the strength we need." As her prayer cascaded into the silence, a wave of warmth cascaded through the room, mingling with the laughter of joyful children in the corner. Suddenly, she felt a tug on her sleeve. Emily looked up at her with wide, innocent eyes, filled with a curiosity that could pierce through the most steadfast of hearts. "Mommy, can I pray too?" The simple request rippled through Sarah's heart with such force it nearly brought her to her knees. What breathtaking faith emanated from this little girl. With a gentle nod, Sarah encouraged her. Emily clasped her hands tightly, her chin tucked to her chest. "Dear God," she began, innocent words spilling out like a gentle brook, "please take care of Daddy. Make him better. And please thank you for Mommy and everyone here." At that moment, Sarah realized how powerful and pure the essence of faith can be through the voice of a child. Soft murmurs of Amen echoed softly around them like an embrace. The room filled with an otherworldly peace, as if heaven itself was holding them, cradling every prayer shared. In the midst of this sacred collective, Sarah noticed the gentle sway of her fellow congregants. They were lost in their own personal prayers, yet there was a palpable thread that connected them all. It was a divine tapestry weaving the dreams and struggles of many into a single, harmonious song. Pastor James lifted his voice again, this time carrying a tone that resonated across the gathered hearts. "Beloved, have faith. God is working even when we cannot see it. There is a miracle waiting to be unwrapped." The words ignited a spark within Sarah. Could it be true? Were they merely on the brink of something monumental? The anticipation hung in the air like the weight of all their dreams, ready to burst into reality. As she scanned the room, she caught sight of others lost in their own silent prayers, tears of hope flowing freely down cheeks hardened by the weight of the world. The atmosphere felt almost electric, a magnetic pull promising transformation, renewal, and hope. The evening stretched on, each heartbeat echoing promises of divine intervention. Sarah's spirit soared, yet a question loomed in her heart. What awaited them in their pursuit of faith? Would they step into the blessings they sought? As she lingered on this thought, a sudden flicker of light caught her eye. It surged once before her, a dazzling spark that flickered and dimmed just as quickly. Goosebumps rose on her arms as Sarah felt the heavy pull of destiny converge upon them. What revelation awaited in the days to come? In the profound silence, she dared to dream. What if the miracles they sought were merely a prayer away? The atmosphere crackled with an intensity that was both exhilarating and humbling. As Sarah opened her eyes, she saw the faces of her fellow congregants illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight. Each person appeared to be a vessel of hope, their expressions reflecting silent prayers and dreams, echoing her own longing for a miracle. "Take a moment to listen," Pastor James continued, his voice soothing like a summer breeze. "Listen for the still, small voice of God reaching out to you." There was a gentle hush as the congregation collectively sank into a deeper contemplation, an openness to receive whatever God might reveal. Sarah let herself fall into the silence, breathing in deeply. She felt the warmth of Emily's small body next to hers, and as she peeked down, their eyes locked. In that moment, an incredible sense of unity enveloped them both. A profound connection that felt boundless, like the very fabric of love woven directly from heaven. "God loves you," Emily whispered, as though sharing a precious secret. "Just like he loves Daddy." The sweetness of her words hung in the air, rippling outwards and embracing everyone around them. Tears blurred Sarah's vision, their faith intertwined, creating a river of compassion and assurance flowing through the chapel. She closed her eyes again, allowing herself to be carried by that unseen current of love. Minutes stretched into an eternity as Sarah's heart began to overflow. She imagined healing like a gentle rain, washing over Mark, drenching him in hope and strength. The prayer began to bubble up from her very core. "Lord, may he feel your light. Let him know he is not alone. Surround him with your grace." As she prayed fervently, a divine heaviness settled in the room, thick and palpable. An inexplicable peace swept over her. She sensed that something monumental was pushing against the barriers of their reality, ready to break through. Suddenly, a child's laughter rang out, bright and pure, cutting through the contemplative silence, an echo of heaven itself. The congregation smiled, their hearts lifting at the innocent joy that transcended earthly troubles. In that laughter, Sarah felt the breaking of chains. The burdens they carried were perhaps not as heavy as they seemed. Pastor James's voice grew stronger, full of encouragement. "Beloved, sometimes it feels as though we are drowning in doubt and fear. But remember, with faith, even mountains can be moved. Hold tight to hope. It empowers your prayers." As if on cue, Emily squeezed Sarah's hand, igniting a spark within her. The power of belief began to bubble over, awakening every dormant dream within the sanctuary. Was it true? Could faith combined with love truly bring about miracles? The sheer audacity of these thoughts made her heart race. "Let's open our hearts to the wonders ahead," Pastor James urged, almost as if he sensed the whirlwind of faith swirling among the congregation. "In the days to come, let us unveil the miracles God has in store for us." The air felt charged with unspoken promises, the shadows of doubt melting away as a radiant hope filled the space. Sarah glanced toward the chapel doors, wondering what awaited them outside, beyond this moment. She felt overflowing anticipation, each heartbeat echoing a longing for transformation. But in all this light, a question still lingered. Was she truly prepared for the impact that divine love could create? What if embracing this journey meant stepping into the unknown? As she pondered this opening of her heart, the flickering candles seemed to dance with a renewed vigor. It was as if they were heralds of the miracles that awaited their embrace. In that sacred moment, Sarah felt a stirring. Something was awakening within her. What transformation lay in store when she chose to lift her own expectations higher than the clouds of doubt that had veiled her vision? The soft hum of whispered prayers filled the chapel as the congregation began to rise from their silence. A wave of energy surged through Sarah, igniting a fervor she had not known before. As Pastor James continued to speak, she felt as if he were drawing each soul present closer to the heart of God. The weight of expectation in the air was both daunting and thrilling. "Embrace the unknown," he encouraged, his voice rising with conviction. "God delights in the willingness of his children to step forward in faith, even when the path ahead is shrouded in mystery." Sarah felt her heart leap. The idea of stepping into the mystery felt both frightening and exhilarating. She exchanged a knowing glance with Emily, whose innocent face radiated unwavering belief, and a smile tugged at Sarah's lips. If Emily could trust, surely she could too. As the prayer circle began to form, Sarah stepped forward, hand in hand with her daughter. Each person was drawn together by invisible threads of intention and faith, creating a tapestry of devotion that enveloped them all. With every whispered prayer, a powerful current surged through the room. It was like electricity, sparking with the promise of divine intervention. "I believe miracles are unfolding," Sarah breathed to herself, letting the thought sink in. She willed her heart to let go of reservations, to loosen its grip on familiar fears. In their place, she invited in divine love, a force strong enough to reshape the very fabric of her reality. Around her, she could see faces shining with hope. They weren't just participating, they were believing. Each prayer seemed to amplify the energy in the air, lifting it higher, weaving it into something more magnificent than any single heart could hold. Sarah felt uplifted, sensed that every tear, every sigh was a part of this sacred exchange. And then it happened. A gentle breeze suddenly swept through the chapel, stirring the flickering candlelight and sending a ripple of whispers through the congregation. It felt as if God's presence had stepped in, tangible and loving, drawing them all closer. Gasps of awe filled the air. Children stared wide-eyed. Adults exchanged glances of wonder. It stirred a bubbling joy deep within Sarah, resonating like a distant bell beckoning her forward. "Open your hearts wider, dear ones," Pastor James urged, his arms outstretched like the branches of a willow. "Your prayers are being heard. Claim your healing, your peace, your dreams." As the words poured from him, every cell in Sarah's body vibrated with longing. It felt like a call to arms, but not the kind of arms that held weapons. Instead, they were arms reaching out for truth, for healing, for the divine love that promised abundance. "Let us trust," he continued. "Our faith will carry us, just as it has throughout history. We are not alone in this." And in that moment, everything shifted. Sarah felt her spirit rise, her burdens transform into wings that could carry her higher. She could picture Mark, enveloped in the same light that filled her heart. It was a light that whispered of hope, love, and unshakable peace. A divine gift. As the group began to pray fervently, she felt herself swept into the collective yearning. In her heart, a question took root. What if embracing this journey meant more than just a transformation for herself? What if it had the power to ripple out and change those around her? With renewed courage, she joined her voice with the others, letting the words carry her higher. Each moment filled her with a burning desire for clarity. As if on cue, the flickering candles dimmed momentarily, and a stillness swept over the congregation. But just then, Sarah caught a glimpse of something flickering at the edges of her vision. A sign, perhaps. What awaited them beyond this moment, this prayer? And what profound revelations might unfold in the days to come? The stillness lingered like the calm before a storm, and Sarah's heart quickened. The chapel, once filled with the murmurs of hope, now echoed with the sweet sound of silence, cloaking them all in a sacred embrace. She closed her eyes, drawing deep breaths while focusing on the warmth spreading through her. In the depths of that silence, she felt a transition, a stirring movement within her, a knowing that something extraordinary was about to unfold. A striking light flickered at the edge of her vision, and as she opened her eyes, it seemed brighter, pulsing as if in rhythm with her heartbeat. The energy in the room shifted again, becoming more palpable, charged with an expectation she could hardly contain. It was a moment when heaven kissed earth, and she could almost hear the whisper of angels urging her forward. When the spirit of the congregation surged anew, Sarah could feel every eye reflecting the shared yearning for connection, for divine healing. The faces of all around her were illuminated in that pure light. Their eyes sparkled with the curiosity and faith of children ready to encounter the wondrous. She squeezed Emily's hand tighter, knowing this journey was not just hers, but a collective pilgrimage toward the heart of God. "Let your spirit soar," Pastor James encouraged, his voice warm yet commanding. In these moments, we lean into the eternal promise that God is ever present. In our surrender, we find power. Sarah felt the truth in his words resonate deeply within her. Surrender. It sounded counterintuitive yet liberating. What if, in releasing her need for control, she could uncover a greater mystery? That divine plan might be far grander than anything she could envision. She started to release her burdens mentally, her need for certainty, her doubts, one by one. As the pastor prayed, the atmosphere grew heavier with the weight of collective faith. People began to utter their hopes aloud, their voices flowing in unison, creating a symphony of desires and dreams, hearts pleading for miracles, healing for loved ones, strength for trials. Sarah listened closely and absorbed their offerings, as if each prayer could plant seeds of faith in the soil of her own soul. Suddenly, an enticing and meditative silence swept over them again, a profound stillness that seemed to hold a promise. Blanketed by this serene hush, Sarah glanced around, wondering if anyone else felt the gentle urging in their spirits. The flickering light at the edge of her vision was now a steady warmth, enveloping her, encouraging her to step deeper into this mystery. What if my faith can ignite change? She pondered internally, spinning that question around like a cherished prayer, allowing it to illuminate her path. With renewed determination, she dared to imagine the ways God might work through her. It filled her with an exhilaration she could hardly contain. Emily turned to her, eyes wide. "Mommy, can we really see miracles happen?" Sarah smiled, her heart swelling. "Yes, my love, I believe we can." It was an affirmation, a daring leap into faith. She felt the room vibrate with the touch of the divine, spiraling their hopes into a truth much deeper than she knew. With a gentle nod from Pastor James, the prayer circle concluded, yet the atmosphere remained charged, echoing with promises yet to be fulfilled. As the congregation began to stand, Sarah lingered a moment longer, longing to grasp onto that flicker of light that had sparked her heart. "Trust that the unknown will reveal itself in due time." A voice seemed to echo softly in her heart. The uncertainty was still there, but she felt a comforting embrace amidst it, the assurance of God's watchfulness and love. As they stepped outside the chapel, the world around them shimmered with possibility. What awaited them beyond this ordinary day? What divine encounters were on the horizon? Sarah remained curious and tenderly expectant, holding tight to hope as they ventured forward into the unwritten chapters of their lives. The dawn broke gently over Willowbrook, painting the sky in brilliant hues of lavender and orange. Sarah stood on her porch, the cool morning air brushing against her skin. Today was different. Today felt like a promise. She opened her heart to the warmth of sunlight pouring through the trees, illuminating her path. Each ray whispered of divine love, healing, and an abundance of grace. Thoughts of last night flooded her, every prayer, every word of encouragement moving together in harmony, a sacred symphony drawing closer to the heart of God. Inside the cottage, Emily was still asleep, her small form cocooned under colorful blankets strewn with drawings of rainbows. Sarah smiled, her spirit buoyed by her daughter's innocent faith. After a moment of quiet reflection, she turned toward the kitchen. Mark's chair sat empty, yet the memory of him, the laughter shared, the dreams spun in the warmth of family, wrapped around her like a cherished embrace. Gathering her thoughts, Sarah set about preparing breakfast. As the aroma of fresh pancakes filled the air, she prayed, "Lord, today I ask for guidance and clarity. May we step boldly into whatever you have prepared for us, and for Mark." Moments later, the front door creaked open, and she heard the soft patter of little feet. Emily, vibrant and wide-eyed, rushed into the kitchen. "Mama? Is today the day?" she exclaimed, stars of hope sparkling in her gaze. Sarah's heart swelled. "What do you think?" she asked gently, tucking a loose strand of hair behind Emily's ear. "Yes, today feels really special." Emily bounced on her toes, excitement radiating from her. Sarah's spirit soared at her daughter's unwavering belief. In that moment, she realized they were on the brink of something profound, not merely about Mark's healing, but about the depth of love and connection woven between them all. Moreover, the way faith could forge community, transforming hearts across the village. It was the hubs of prayer, love shared, and burdens lifted that birthed divine miracles. After breakfast, they made their way to the chapel, drawn by a sense of urgency and excitement in their hearts. The familiar sounds of Willowbrook buzzed with life, but there was an undercurrent of anticipation, an electric hum that filled the air. People greeted one another with warmth, the atmosphere a mix of laughter and whispered prayers, infused with an understanding that something monumental was unfolding. As Sarah entered the chapel, a hush enveloped her. Faces turned toward her, eyes shimmering with expectation. Pastor James stepped forward, his presence commanding yet comforting, and he began to speak, his voice booming with passion. "Friends, today is not just another day. Miracles are on our doorstep, waiting to be embraced. Our combined faith has sown seeds of hope. Now let this harvest begin." A ripple of energy coursed through the crowd, hearts beating in synchrony. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the intensity grow stronger, a reminder of the love that flowed around them. "Let us start with gratitude," Pastor James continued, lifting his arms. "In everything, remain thankful. Each moment is a gift." The congregation echoed his sentiment, voices rising in a symphony of thanks. As Sarah joined in, she felt weight lift from her spirit. Gratitude opened pathways to mirroring love, a bridge connecting her heart to heaven. Every soft whisper of appreciation compelled her closer to the divine pulse she had enacted with prayer, and then a miraculous shift happened. The room brightened as light cascaded from the altar, illuminating each face and heart in vibrant glow. A divine presence tingled in the air, wrapping around them like a loving hug. Faith fluttered like fires ignited within them. Barriers built by doubt began to fall. In that sacred moment, something remarkable blossomed. As Pastor James led the congregation in a collective prayer for healing, Sarah felt her heart race. A wave of warmth surged through her, a loving embrace that felt alive and pulsating with assurance. Suddenly she realized this was it, the moment they had longed for, the moment of transformation. Every soul joined together, lifting their voices in unison, weaving prayers that soared into the heavens. Heavenly Father, they cried, we ask for healing today, for strength and restoration, for family bonds to be fortified with love. In the crescendo of those voices, miracles began to unfurl. One by one, stories emerged. A woman stepped forward, her voice trembling yet filled with courage. I felt a release. I'm healed. Gasps filled the air. Another person shared their testimony, tears streaming down their cheeks. My child had been lost, but I see hope. As Sarah listened, she was awash in divine certainty. In witnessing each miracle, she felt a spark kindling within her, igniting a blaze of faith. The collective energy teetered on the brink of something magnificent, something that would change lives forever. Finally, Pastor James turned his gaze towards Sarah. And you, sister, what burdens do you wish to lift today? The entire congregation turned, the air electric with shared love, hope, and encouragement. With tears of overwhelming joy in her eyes, Sarah stepped forward, heart open wide. For my husband, Mark, she began, her voice vibrant with conviction. For healing and strength, and for the love that binds us as family, let us embrace the miracles that await. Amen, the congregation echoed, and Sarah felt a mighty wave of energy lift her soul. As they prayed collectively, she envisioned Mark, wrapped in the same golden light that filled the chapel. In that vision, she felt his love envelop her, and she knew, without a doubt, that the journey they shared was sacred. In that moment, the chapel swelled with a mixture of laughter and tears, hearts filled with hope, courage, and that sacred promise spoken over them all. You are not alone. As they all joined hands, Sarah felt the power of unity, a divine tapestry binding them in a sacred circle of love that transcended earthly bounds. This was the miracle, the promise of connection, the flow of healing love, and the bold walk of faith. Emerging from the chapel later that day, arms linked, hearts glowing, she marveled at the dawn of a new beginning. Love reigned, not just over her family, but echoed throughout the village, a reminder that healing was possible, and miracles were indeed waiting. Are you ready, my love? She asked Emily, her heart eager with the possibilities that lay ahead. Yes, Mama, together, Emily replied, her eyes sparkling. As they walked into the light of day, hand in hand, Sarah knew they were writing their story anew, an unfolding of faith, love, community, and miracles in a world hungry for hope. In that embrace of divine connection, she witnessed the truth. When hearts unite in faith, miracles unfold, connecting us all beneath the tapestry of shared love and unyielding hope. And so, with joy in their hearts, they stepped boldly forward, ready for whatever God had in store. Now, beloved family, this is the moment to show your unwavering support. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will ignite your soul. Leave a like now and let those algorithm beams shoot your gratitude into the universe. Your engagement feeds this beautiful community. Comment down below your reactions and testimonies about this miraculous ending. Your voices matter, and we are listening. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and hope in their own lives. Don't wait even one more second to spread the word. Only true servants of God understand the importance of uplifting our faith together through these actions.